What's going on, everybody? It's Jerron Lockridge. I'm the writer and director of The Reaper Man, and I am here today with one of my leads, the incomparable Kenon Walker. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, man.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Kenon Walker, and I had the privilege of playing Joseph and the Reaper Man. And like I said, this man excited to be here, excited to be to talk about it, and excited to finally see it.
Dope. So, how long have you been acting? And just kind of tell us about your career up to this point.
Well, I started. I've been acting since 1993. So yeah, I've been acting since I was 13 years old, man. And it really all kind of started, man, because my mom, she put me in a theater camp at the Alliance Theater Company in Atlanta, Georgia. So I grew up. I was born in Memphis, but now my teenage years were in Atlanta. So to keep me out of trouble, my mom put me in a theater camp at the Alliance Theater Company when I was 13. Just to, you know what I'm saying, keep me on the straight and narrow. And it was something about like improv exercises and riffing and coming up with stuff off the top of my head that really connected with me and struck me. And that was the exact thing that I was getting in trouble for in school. You know what I mean? But then to have a platform to do that and it be well received, you know, it really did something to me. And I just never stopped acting from there. But the thing was, it was never something to want to do for fame or notoriety or attention. It was therapeutic for me, just finding characters and finding, you know, a different perspective to look at life through, you know what I mean? Because when you're a character, you can literally be somebody else. Yeah. So looking through life, you know, from a different perspective and creating characters was something that was therapeutic for me. So I just seeked out every opportunity that I could find to do that. And then the more I did it, you know, the more the resume kind of built, and then I started seeking out certain types of characters and certain types of projects I want to be a part of. And yeah. I just never stopped. So, you know, stage plays, turned to films, and really started as a background extra in a lot of films. A lot of films. I just wanted to be on set. I wanted to see how it was done. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was always the one that would buy the special edition, you know, DVDs. You know what I mean? So I could see the behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it started off with like I said, theater. You know what I mean? Which I'm really thankful for, because I feel like if you're a theatrically trained actor, then you know everything else is easy.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, let's continue to work, cross paths with certain people. You know what I mean? Eventually, my path led me back here to Memphis, and by that point, I'd been acting for almost 6 years, from 13 to 19, about 6 years. And then I started doing independent work, and some of that turned to feature work. So really, it was just just continuing to move forward, continuing to grind, continuing to you know, to progress and learn from everything that I've been through prior to, and they led me here.
Cool. And that's one thing, man, I noticed, especially like casting my own projects like theater, you know, those who started in theater, they're so much, you know, better trained and can retain those lines. And, you know, I recommend anybody who's wanting to act, you know, instead of waiting to get cast in these roles, try theater out, you know, and sharpen that knife and go into it like that. So, as far as like actors or people who influenced you, who's your favorite actor and why, or which actor kind of influenced you to, you know, do what you do?
Well, I mean, it was a few of them. DiCaprio, you know what I'm saying? Leonardo DiCaprio. When I saw What's Eating Gilbert Grape, you know what I mean? When he played Arnie in that movie, that really kind of blew my mind, because I don't know if I realized who he was after seeing the movie. I think it was. I think I saw the movie first and then saw him afterwards. I was like, oh, you mean to tell me that he's okay? You know what I'm saying? He's not really challenged like that. And it just blew my mind that he was so, you know, believable and committed to that role. You know what I mean? That you know, so I've always gravitated toward DiCaprio. I love you know, Denzel, of course, Denzel Washington. You know, I think who else? I don't want to just say like the same run-of-the-mill people. You know, of course, Denzel, Morgan Freeman, Samuel L. Jackson. But DiCaprio, like I said, he was really somebody that anytime he dropped something, I would make sure that I'm there. Mekhi Phifer, I remember back in the day, it seemed like Mekhi Phifer was in everything.
Man,
you know?
Everything.
That man was everything. So I mean, I used to dig when he would come out with stuff. You might see him in something like Clockers, and you turn around and see him in something like, oh, You know what I mean? Which is a Shakespeare adaptation.
Range, man.
The range was amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think any actors that I could run across or discover that had range that weren't just like typecast actors, that's who I gravitated to.
Yeah, it's dope, man. I actually probably about 2 years ago was my first time watching Who Ate Gilbert Grape. That's my first time.
Man, Leo was so brilliant in that, man.
Yeah,
He's getting everything, but
and he was like real young, man, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So
I think it wasn't too long after he was on Growing Pains or something like that. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. So, what about movies? What's your favorite movie? What movie influenced you?
Well, let me see. Lean on Me was a big one. Stand By Me was a big one. You know what I mean? I love the 90s hood classics. You know what I mean? Boys in the Hood. You know, Poetic Justice, Minister Society. But I'm gonna tell you the movie. You know, as strange as it may sound, the movie that made me want to be in movies was Jurassic Park. First Jurassic Park, right?
Spielberg.
Yeah, man. Spielberg came out in '93, based off the Michael Crichton novel. And I remember I was 13 when it came out, right? Yeah. And I just finished. I've always been a big reader. I mean, so I just finished reading the novel by Michael Crichton the day that the movie came out.
Yeah,
I feel like it was like July. That had been like July '93. You know what I mean? So it hopped on my bike. Came out, I'm 13 years old. I hopped on my bike. You know what I mean? Stopped at this KFC on the way. They got some chicken nuggets. And then, but I thought it was all honey mustard sauce. Threw them in my backpack, got some candy, you know what I'm saying, from the store, riding my bike. Now, I went to like the first showing of Jurassic Park. I think it was like at 11:30, 12 o'clock noon screening. So there wasn't a lot of people in there. Yeah. I mean, so I went in, sat in the middle of the theater. That was my thing back in the day. I sit right in the middle of the theater. You know what I'm saying? Mid row, middle of the mid row. You know what I'm saying?
This part.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I remember the previews went off. I remember the lights went down, you know what I'm saying? And then I pulled out my, you know what I'm saying, with my chicken nuggets, had them all set up, had my little dipping sauce on the arm of the chair. And then the lights, you know what I'm saying, with the Universal logo pops up, the bum bum. You know what I'm saying? So and I remember like the title card comes up and he's saying it's Jurassic Park, you know. You see these trees rustling. I mean, at that point I was like, yo, okay, this, you know what I'm saying, this is something dope. You know what I'm saying? And then like the cage came through the woods and they were putting the raptor inside the little raptor paddock. But of course, you know what I'm saying, the very first person in the movie gets killed is a black dude. Yep. First person gets killed. You know what I mean? They're trying to put the raptor in there. Next thing you know, black dude gets too close to the cage. They're trying to back it up. And now he's being drugged. He's drugging him around, right? Yep. And then the white dude's like, shoot her! Shoot her! I was like, damn, right? And so I was enthralled by that point. But the thing that changed my life, that made me want to be in movies, was when they got to the scene where the two Ford Explorers had stopped in front of the T-Rex paddock when the power had gone out. Mm. So it was raining. You got the truck in the front that has the lawyer. I think his name was Gennaro. Yeah. You had Tim and Lex in the front truck. And then you had Alan Grant and Ian Malcolm in the second truck. Yeah. They had dropped off, you know what I'm saying, Dr. Sadler, because she wanted to stay behind with the T-Rex, you know what I'm saying, with the dude with the gas-powered Jeep, right? Yes. You know what I mean? And so it's raining. When they passed by that paddock originally, they couldn't find the dinosaur wasn't there, right? So they tried to bring a goat out. They tried to bring him out. That didn't work. So now, you see how vivid this is in my mind, right? I mean, so now you hear the goat, you hear the rain, you know what I'm saying? But then when the T-Rex's head went down by the window, she shined light in his eye, and his pupil dilated. And then his head, you know what I'm saying, rose back up out of sight. At that moment, I was like, I want to do what those kids are doing. I want to be in that truck. I want to do that. That's what I want to do. The rest of my life, I want to do that. And then saying, that was, like I said, 93, you know what I'm saying? And when I saw that scene, I saw that movie, it changed my life. And then I think the first movie that I was ever in was a movie called Passing Glory, which was this TNT movie about a black basketball team. And I think that was close to like 93, 94-ish, you know what I'm saying, that I got in that movie. And I just kept finding extra work to do, just so I could be on the set, you know what I mean? So yeah, Jurassic Park, man, that movie changed my life.
So tell everybody, man, about who's your character in this movie and, you know, kind of tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Joseph, man, I play a character as Joseph. And Joseph is a newlywed. You know what I'm saying? Just was recently married to his wife, played by the immaculate and the outstandingly talented Jessica J. Johnson. You know what I mean? Who I love working with. You know what I mean? So he's a newlywed man. He's really trying to, provide for his family, to try to get a new home, for his family to live in. And it's really just a good guy. And, without giving too much away of the storyline, while protecting his wife, he, encounters a very tumultuous situation, a very dangerous situation that he directly encounters, in defense of his wife. And the rest of it, I guess people would have to come see the movie to see what happens. But I will say this is a man that is that his life is about his wife. His life is about making this woman happy and making sure that she's safe and knowing that she doesn't have to do anything alone. Because I think Jessica's character, has been through some, family situations in her past with siblings and, things of that nature. My character, did not come up that way. But so his main thing is making sure that she's taken care of, that she's cared for, and that she doesn't feel alone at any point. And I think that's a big driving force of, what happens in the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And that's one thing, like, especially with this, because Joseph is complex. It's hard to talk about him a lot without spoiling a lot of stuff. And that's one thing I was telling, Jay, like, this is one of those movies where, although it's a horror film, the way y'all characters, the chemistry between y'all, it's a whole nother layer that makes you attached to these characters that experience that horror in a whole different light, where it's more than just a horror film to kind of spook you and stuff like that. Yeah. So, as far as this character, how is he, does he have any similarities with you? How is he like you? How is he different than you?
Well, with Joseph and the later progression of him in the film, there are a lot of similarities. Now, and I am personally at this point in my life, I'm single. Happily single. We'll say that. But when I love, I love hard. I love, I'm a very committed person. I'm a faithful person, and I because I'm an only child, they came up in a single parent household. I'm very protective of, my significant other. I was very protective of my mother growing up, as a single kid and only child in a single parent household. Mm-hmm. So I think the protective instinct of Joseph, I can relate to that a lot. But then there's other sides of the later stages of Joseph that I can relate to from my earlier days. Like with my earlier days, I had much worse temper than I do now. I think I have a very good sense of balance and looking at the bigger picture now at this stage in life. I didn't always. You know what I'm saying? So there's a very different side of me at an earlier stage in life. Thank God I've been able to overcome for the most part. Don't get twisted though. Don't get twisted. I'm still a man first, But the thing is, but having gone through those stages in life, and there's certain things about the later stages of what Joseph becomes that I can relate to. But the man that Joseph is, just wanting to be a provider, wanting to be a protector, and wanting to be a solid foundation for his significant other. I think that's something that I can definitely relate to.
Cool. So as far as the, cause you've done plenty of work in the game, man, when it comes to theater and short films and feature films and all that. How did you particularly prepare for this role? Like, how did you, get yourself ready for this role? Because like I said, it's a complex role, so you kind of had to have some duality about yourself. Mm-hmm. And, how did you go about that process?
Well, whenever I am working on a new project, I love building the backstory of the character, which is a very vital and very important part of the process, in my opinion, but it's also been proven to be true as far as those who are successful in portraying roles. You got to build a backstory, and build characteristics and mannerisms and a storyline that isn't in the script, so you can fully understand who your character is by the time you step on stage or in front of a camera. So for this particular role, I watched movies that were similar to what the storyline was in this picture, but then there were certain pieces of different characters, you know what I'm saying, that I think I kind of put together as far as character traits or you know, certain mannerisms, you know what I mean, that the character would have, you know, but then at the same time, there's a duality there to where, you know, Joseph goes through different stages, you know, throughout the storyline. And it was very important, or at least I tried my best to make sure that the two sides of Joseph were vastly different, but similar to a point to where you could see how there was a connection between the two. You know what I mean? So, a lot of it, like I said, doing research, watching certain movies, certain types of movies, watching documentaries. But then, you know, then a lot of it was just kind of just building the character myself, just being in the mirror and practicing different mannerisms and faces and movements and the speed of which I was moving, or, you know, the quickness in which I would move at certain points. You know what I mean? I just kind of, like I said, took my time and watched like a lot of movies, documentaries, and then a lot of mirror work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when people see, you know, when they finally see the movie, they're going to be like, wow. Because I mean, it's kind of like, I can't talk about it without spoiling it, you know, but it's so much, you know, it's complex. So, and, man, you killed it, man. I was looking at
I was just hoping that you were happy, because I mean, I've never played a role like this, but I've always wanted to, you know what I mean? So there was a certain amount of excitement, you know what I'm saying, about doing it, but then pressure I put on myself to want to really deliver, because it's one of them things where it's like, if you don't do it right, people could be like,
yeah,
that was something.
I don't think about it. Like when they see this movie, man, I got such good feeling about it, and you know, I've had that feeling before, but I got a real good feeling about this movie. So I think people gonna connect with it just because, you know, it's a horror picture, but it's so much different than your average horror picture. You know, it's some performances in here. You know, you gonna have to, you know, when you watch it, you gonna see they came with it. You and Jay, y'all held this film down, man, and I'm proud of it. I can't wait for people to see it. Yeah, so as far as, you know, what was your biggest challenge with the role? Let's go that route.
Man, biggest challenge with the role. You know what? I'll be honest with you. As far as challenge, I think there's different ways you can look at that. You know what I mean? Challenge, you know what I mean? You can look at it as far as difficulty. I didn't really encounter a lot of challenges, you know what I'm saying, as far as feeling like something was difficult versus the challenge of wanting to, I guess, put it all on the line and then really, you know, bring the nuances of the character, you know what I'm saying, to life.
Yeah.
And so it was a challenge to venture into a realm within the character that I'd never ventured into before. But then that was fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that wasn't a challenge. It was fun to lose myself into that aspect of the character. So it was like, it wasn't challenging. It was fun. If anything, it was more challenging just to make sure that I was delivering. Like, I hope that this is, you know what I'm saying, something that when people see it, it's like, oh, whoa, it wasn't like that before. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess if anything, it's the pressure of hoping that I delivered was the main challenge. But as far as playing the character, man, but I can honestly tell you, bro, like in almost 30 years, you know what I'm saying, I've been acting, man, I had the most fun. I had the most fun filming this project. Man, I was actually kind of sad when it was over, because I was like, damn, it's over. You know what I'm saying? So I really hope that people love seeing it as much as I enjoyed making it.
Man. It was, and I was saying the same thing with Jay, man. It was, this is about my most fun set. I don't know what it is, but I have the most fun on horror pictures. It's just weird, but this was by far one of my, I didn't want to leave. Like the night we was just out chilling with, filming. Like I was like, man, we got to get these scenes done. But I'm enjoying this company right now. We just had so much fun with each other on set, man. So hopefully one day we got to get a
family kind of vibe, man. Like I said, not no one person. You know, I mean, as far as my involvement in the film and the scenes of who I've acted opposite, no one felt out of place. No one. You know what I'm saying, that I have to like really struggle to try to get along with or connect with. It just felt everybody, the right people were in place. And it felt like it was coming together with it was like making a film in summer camp or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it just felt like, man, I'm having a ball doing this. And I hope that, you know what I'm saying, I hate when the last day of camp gets here.
Man, this is over with.
Yeah.
And I asked Jay this question yesterday, and she mentioned the flashback scene in the kitchen when you came home and y'all were in the kitchen together. But what is your favorite, without spoiling anything? What is your favorite moment or line of dialogue in the film?
You know, without giving anything away, I will say that there's a couple. It's a couple scenes. One scene I really dig a lot. You know what I'm saying? What I enjoyed making. I can't wait to see it. On the screen was the scene where, and it was a flashback scene. The scene where Jay and I pull up with the car, and this is after our wedding reception, and I can see that she's bothered about something, and and I decided that I wasn't satisfied with the dance that we had, at the reception, and so I wanted to finish it, but we finished it in the middle of the street. Like we pulled the car over, and we finished it in the light of the headlights in the middle of the street, just she and I. And I think that was just a beautiful scene. I know filming that scene, it just felt like it was something special. I mean, it felt like it was a special scene. And certain things that I said to her in that scene, definitely painted a picture for what was to come, or I guess if it was a flashback of what was happening in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I thought that was just a real beautiful scene and just a real testament of the love between those two characters.
Yeah.
And there's the line that I say in that scene that really could be like the tagline for the movie, like when you think about it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I mean, it can actually, it can actually be a tagline for the movie. It really spells it out.
It does. It does. And I think as I was saying the lines, I was like, ooh, okay, yeah, okay, this is dope. Yeah, I mean, so like I said, that scene, and there was another scene, in the later stages of the movie that, saying again, I don't want to ruin anything, but, as the later stage of Joseph, comes to light, so to speak, there was a scene in there that I really, really, really had a good time making, but to not spoil the movie, I won't go into detail on that.
So, other than yourself, I know you hadn't seen it yet. What actor are you ready to see? Who do you think, as a, in your own opinion, which actor in this production is going to blow people away, other than yourself? Because
in this movie,
yeah.
Well, Jay, man, like Jay is Jay is a beast, man. I've seen Jay on stage. I've seen her on screen. I've worked with her, on projects. I think we have another project that we were in, where she plays my wife as well in that project. Mm-hmm. But I met her through the theater circuit when I was, really heavy into plays. You know what I mean? And Jay is just, such a unusually talented person, and she just oozes, these characteristics and this sensuality that you can't help but to feel. Like you can't help but to be moved by her. Like the look in her eye, without even saying anything. Like she has a way of projecting such emotion just from the look in her eyes.
Right.
I mean, that she is, man, like I'm excited to see her performance in this movie. You know what I mean? I know the scenes that we had together, I'm always blown away by how natural our chemistry is, you know what I'm saying? Because Jay and I are really good friends and, have been for a number of years now, but professionally when we're working together, it's like something clicks to where it just feels like, okay, this doesn't feel like work to try to, act opposite this person. It just fits, it works, you know what I'm saying? And anything she's in, I'll watch it, you know what I'm saying? I'm a huge Jay Johnson fan, you know what I'm saying?
As well, brother.
To see her, I think, and salute and kudos to the whole cast, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but Jay is, she's a force to be reckoned with, man. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her performance and seeing how it all turned out, the scenes that we had together.
Yeah. And that's what I was telling her. Like, this scene, I mean, the whole cast did amazing. Like, I just can't wait for folks to see this movie. but the film is so much, Jessica and Joseph.
Mhm.
And I was telling, her that like she anchors, like her emotionality in this movie is what anchors it down, and then, when Joseph does his thing, and he, the issues that happen there, like it just all makes everything comes full circle. And
Mhm.
that was one thing I was always telling her, like, man, she probably remembers me saying that. I always talk about them eyes. I was like, you don't have to say a word, but you can emote so much through your
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so happy with the performances, and I just cannot wait until October 31st, man. So we
Yeah, me
can
too.
get folks in this theater so they can see this movie. And other than that, who you want to see. What I mean, we already kind of dipped into it already, but what makes a good scene partner, and how was it working with Jay during this production? I mean, you already kind of touched in on that, but
Well, yeah, I think with a good scene partner, there's there. I think that you have some people, like when you act opposite them, you can tell if they're acting. You know what I'm saying? And then you have some people who are becoming, like they are the character. They know the backstory. They know how that character would feel in that moment. You know what I mean? Because they've done the research and they've built their character up to that point. You know what I mean? And if you've gone through that process, you can tell if somebody else has gone through the process, because it's not depending on you to say the next line. They're depending on you to convey the next emotion.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So they'll know where you're going without even you having to say the line. And then a lot of times, if people just read the script, then you're dependent on that person that you're acting opposite of saying that last line. Like if they don't say that last line, then you're lost.
yeah,
And that means that you didn't know the scene. You didn't know what they were talking about. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have needed that last line if you knew what the conversation was about.
yeah,
And Jay knows her stuff. Like she knows, the character. She knows how the character would feel. You know what I mean? If I skip a line, or if she skips a line, or if we, miss a line, we know exactly where we were. You know, and then where you can come off the top of your head and improv that line and fill it in, because she knows the character and she knows the work, the subject matter. And that's such an important part of acting, whether on stage or film. Just know what you're talking about, know what that scene is about, know where your character is coming from, and don't be dependent on the other person's line. Know the other person's lines too. Like know where they're coming from. That way, if they drop their line, then you'll know what to say to help them pick back up. If you know the subject matter and you know what I'm saying, where your character's coming from, then you're not dependent on the line being delivered from the other person in order to say your line. You just connect it, you know what I'm saying? And Jay, she knows the backstory of her characters, you know what I mean? She knows where her character and my character fit. She knows what we're talking about, what this scene is about, and what this scene should convey by the time we get to the end of it. And if you know that, then it becomes fun to see the different ways that it's like a dance, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can see the different ways that if I do this, what are you going to do? Oh, okay, you adjust accordingly. Well, if you do this, oh, okay, I know to do this. And it becomes more than just a back and forth, you know what I'm saying? It becomes a piece of art, you know what I'm saying, that hopefully translates on screen, you know what I mean, or on stage. So every time I work with Jessica, it's the same thing.
Yeah. And folks, I know people around me probably, or people watching my pages probably get tired of me talking about you and Jay, but I don't care. Y'all were y'all fit together like a glove, and like it was so obvious that y'all put the work in and y'all got the chemistry already and that's one thing, like I mentioned before, like it's times I've been on set on plenty of productions and you could tell like whoever that actor was really didn't pay attention to that script until the day of, or rehearse those lines before, because when they showed, I mean, it's just obvious. And with y'all, man, like it was just so, I just wish that y'all can do a masterclass in acting, just the way that chemistry was. And it oozes out when you watch the film. Like it's so obvious between these characters that it's going to feel so real. And I believe that's going to be one of the number one compliments for whoever that watches The Reaper, man. They're going to be like, whoever played Jessica and Joseph, man, those were awesome performances. And I honestly think when y'all see it, man, see the movie, like you're going to be proud of that, because it just oozes out the screen, man. And I appreciate y'all for being part of this, you and Jay, because y'all made this movie so much better than I thought it could be.
Oh, man, that's a high compliment, man. Like I said, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, but then working with you, you know what I'm saying, like I've worked with a lot of directors, man. You know what I'm saying, and I have nothing negative to say about any of them. I don't have something positive to say about all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
I don't have nothing negative to say about it. But there's some people that are easier to work with than others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with you, I mean, like I said, we worked together on with the Sticks, and we did Phantom River together. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, every time I work with you, it's easy. It's always a laid back, you know what I'm saying, set. I'm really half the time I'm studying what you're doing because you're so on point with what you're doing, even the way you set up your shots. And you know what I'm saying? I can see you playing the things out of your head, but it's not like you're making it up. It's like you're going through the files that were already there to execute the next take. Yeah. And it's mind blowing to me, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, as an aspiring filmmaker myself, I would get to that point. But I'm so used to being talent. So I studied the people that are around me in this independent game that are doing it. And I'm always just mind blown that you are a one-man crew. Like you said, you literally are a one-man crew. Yeah. But the fact that you're doing all that, and it doesn't add to a frustration that is unbearable to work with because there's so much technicality going on in your head. That's mind blowing, man. So really, truth be told, man, like you, if it's something that you're doing, you know what I'm saying, you need me. Yeah. Hey, bro, and I'm a lone person, man. Like there's a handful of people that I don't care who they are. I mean, they call me, I'm there. You know, no questions asked because they know my level of integrity and what I will and won't do, and then I know what to expect from them. And there's only I can count on half of one hand the number of people that can call me right now and be like, "Hey, bro, I need you." But, hey, I don't even need to know what it is. I'm there. You know what I'm saying? And you were definitely on that list,
bro. I appreciate it. Straight up, I clearly appreciate it. Man, I like this is I've done a lot of productions and this is my top, man. I cannot wait until Halloween night to get folks to come out, and hopefully they do come out and watch this movie. Right now we're sitting at about 40% with a little bit over a month and a half left to go. Why should people come to the theater on Halloween night and watch this movie? If somebody were to ask you right now, man, why should I give me a ticket and watch this movie? What would you say to them?
Well, I mean, well first off, I know if it's a Jerron Lockridge film, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be quality work. You know what I mean? That's first and foremost. Sure. You know what I mean? And like I said, I know that, like even you say that if you go back and look at your older stuff, you know, some stuff that it's easier for you to watch now versus others, it means it's been a steady improvement over time. You know what I'm saying? It's like how when I go back and look at performances and some of my earlier stuff, I'm like, and then hopefully I've improved over time. But one, these are two original horror films, you know what I'm saying, by the same director on Halloween. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, I remember when I was a kid, this, you know, I give my age away. You know, I already said I was 13 to 93, so I'm not just a young man. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't old as dirt either. But I'm old enough to remember going to the drive-in and watching double features. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that was like the thing, man. Like Halloween, man, you go to the movies. You go to the movies. Sometimes you go dressed up in the costume, just going to the movies. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I grew up during the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Friday the 13th and the Halloweens. And then I'm talking about the original, not the reboots, the original. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing like being in a theater on Halloween, you know what I'm saying, watching two horror films. Just that experience alone is worth the price of admission. But these are two original films, you know what I mean? Everybody that's in both films are incredibly talented. A lot of which I've worked with, you know what I mean, a lot of the cast of Succuba I've worked with, you know, on other projects. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of these people that are in The Reaper Man, you know what I mean? I've worked with on other projects. And I know that, you know, everybody's top-notch performers. You know, they're going to be great performances. But it's going to be a vibe, man. Like the vibe inside that theater, you know what I'm saying, with the people who are going to be there on Halloween, I already know it's going to be like a party, man. Hopefully people will be talking to the screen, you know what I'm saying, you know, jumping and spilling popcorn and, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be all love in there, man. So I would say just, you know, for the experience of being in that room on Halloween night, that's worth the price of admission alone. But you're going to come, you're going to be entertained. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you'll be impressed by what one man has done. Because keep in mind, this is one man who has created two films that are both being shown in a theater on Halloween. Again, I said one man. One man. the two pictures. So just to see that accomplishment, but then be amazed at the level of quality that you've been able to pull off, man, that's something worth seeing. But if you support, your local artists, you know what I'm saying? Like if you really, support Memphis artists, then you'll know that, man, Memphis has got some heavy hitters. Memphis has got some of the most talented people on this planet. You know what I mean? And this is a Memphis cast, both films, Memphis and Memphis Jackson, connection. You know what I mean? And it's going to be something that you'll be glad that you came to see. You may be mad that you can't go see it again after, after this screening event. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't go right back the next day and go see it again. I know I'll be, because I'll plan to go see, you know what I'm saying? I like to see it over and over and over again. Like, I'm one of them type people. But the vibe of that night, you know what I'm saying, is worth the price of admission. I'll be there. The cast will be there, so you get a chance to actually interact with the cast of the films, of the people that you're coming to see, the films that you're coming to see. And it's just going to be a good time, man. So, just to support independent artists and to hopefully be inspired when you leave there. That, if it's something that you think you can do or that you're hoping to be a part of, and there's a lot of people who want to act, they don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? Hopefully they'll be inspired to take that next step after coming to this screening.
Yeah, and that's what I usually tell folks, man. Like one of the gripes I'm hearing is why it's on a weekday. The support, starting, like on Halloween night will show, Malco, because I offered Malco, hey, I'll pay you double if you give me a weekend. They wouldn't do it. So like just showing that support, showing you pack these theaters out, they see that enthusiasm for indie film, man, it'll change a lot of minds, especially around Memphis and how they view, the indie filmmakers. Because like you said, man, it's some of the most talented people in the world sitting right there in Memphis, Tennessee. So I think folks need to be, need to know that, need to see that, and see that on the biggest screen. So, just come out and support it. Anything else you want the people to know? Any social media tags, anything you got coming out, any news you want to share, anything you want them to know about you and what you got going on?
Well, again, first and foremost, get your ticket to come see Succuba and the Reaper Man. You know what I'm saying? Halloween at the Malco Stage Cinema, 7:00. Definitely get those tickets, man. I guarantee you that you guys have a good time. I'm looking forward to it. Halloween can't get here enough. But as far as, any other projects I have going on, I'm blessed to have been a part of some other projects that are now coming out and coming into fruition. I'm in a film called Queen Rising that will be that's being released in all Malco theaters on October 7th. So it's going to be kind of dope to go see this Halloween screening at the Malco Stage Cinema and have another film that's playing at the same time that I'm in. So you got Queen Rising, directed by my brother and my homeboy, Princeton James. You know what I mean? That'll be out October 7th in all Malco theaters. There is... on Stars right now, the movie Jukin. The movie Jukin is on Stars now. First independent film ever to get a distribution deal through Stars. Everything else that's on Stars is either original content or big budget studio movies. Jukin is the first film, independent film, Memphis-made film too. First independent film to ever get a distribution deal through Stars, and it's performing extremely well on there. So you can watch that right now. Of course, The Sticks, directed by Jerron Lockridge. The web series is out now. You go on YouTube and watch that. I was blessed to be at the beginning of that first episode, but it was, one of my favorite roles to have played, and I think a good way to start that series off. So I had a great time with that. Phantom River, I believe, is on YouTube. You can check that out, and just keep your ears and eyes open, man. Of course, I'm the Duck Master, Peabody Hotel. It's a little side gig that I got when I'm not making movies. It's a little side hustle, It's just a little ceremony that happens in Memphis. Been going on since 1940. So if you want to come check me out at the Duck March at the Peabody Hotel, the Duck Marches are advertised for 11 and 5, but it's always best to be at least 30 minutes early, meaning you should be there by 10:30 for the morning march. That's the time I'm unrolling the carpet. The ceremony starts at 10:45, and I march the Ducks in at 11. They stay in the fountain until 5, but at 4:30 is when I'm unrolling the carpet. The evening ceremony starts at 4:45, and I march the Ducks out at 5 o'clock. So, you can come see that. I'm there Wednesday through Sunday. So you can come check me out marching the Ducks, and just kind of keep your eyes and ears open, because there's some other exciting stuff that's coming up. I can't necessarily speak on now, but I'm excited to be a part of. So y'all just keep supporting independent artists, keep supporting Memphis artists, and keep supporting Jerron Lockridge, man. I'm telling you, man, that's the seed sown, the seed planted in good ground.
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate, and I want to tell you straight up, man. I appreciate you for coming into this role, for accepting this role, because you didn't have to accept it, and giving this 120%. Because I promise you, man, when folks see this character, like I have a good feeling about it, and I hope I don't leave disappointed. But I think that people are going to want to see this story continue for a second time and a third time and a fourth time. So I got good vibes about the Reaper Man and seeing this story, once people experience it on Halloween night and beyond in its eventual release. So I appreciate you for coming through and killing this role, and man, just for everything you did on this production, man, straight up.
Oh, brilliant. My pleasure, man. Like I said, and if there's a demand for a part 2 to that, you can count me in. I'm there.
We gonna run it back. But this is the interview with Kenon for the Reaper Man. I will have more of the cast members later. But until then, y'all make sure y'all go to somewhere on social media, Eventbrite, misguidedperceptions.net, and get your tickets for the screening on Halloween at 7 p.m. Malco Stage in Bartlett, Tennessee. Be there. I promise you ain't gonna want to miss it. And until next time, we out.